I became aware about 25 years ago that we were moving into a major inflection point in human history. I was already somebody who didn't have to be convinced about climate change as being a key element in that. But I did start to understand the emerging technologies and how profound their impact would be, with biotech and AI being the critical ones, and AI being the driver of really change in all other fields, that it was really going to amplify and speed up development in nanotech and geoengineering and so forth. So I started working in these areas, and I became, enamored of the subject matter, but also was asked to take over the technology and ethics study group at Yale, which had been started by Bonnie Kaplan and Nick Bostrom. Many of you may know who Nick is. And then one thing led to another. So we were trying to focus on something. There were perhaps 250 people in the world who cared about this subject at that time. Most of them were transhumanists, and their main concern was that governments would not get in the way of their enhancing their bodies. But there were maybe 100 scholars around the world who had an interest in these things. We had conferences, we had various ways of interacting, and by the end of the decade, a couple books had been produced, one of which was Moral Machines, Teaching Robots Right from Wrong, which Colin Allen and Colin's a philosopher, presently at Santa Barbara University, had written. And then there was a collection of essays on machine ethics. So that was the focus for the philosophers and some of the computer scientists, which was, largely, can we implement moral decision-making faculties within computers and robots? But there was another group that got going at more or less the same time, and they were the people who were particularly interested in existential risk. So they didn't really care about, basic ethical decision-making. What they cared about was, are we going to be able to control AI and ensure that the singularity does not destroy humanity? And that divide has really continued. I mean, people tend to be more interested in the existential risks, or more interested in the general all-purpose faculties. And I'm probably a bit more identified with the all-purpose faculties. What shall I say? I'm a friendly as far as questions around existential risks and superintelligence.